What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 22 of C4SVillains. I am your host JB and I am here as always with my co-host Legendy Vash, and we are here with two very special returning guests, my boys Abe and Steve from the Inside of the Mind of a Blerd podcast and the Osa and Abe podcast. Abe, Steve, thank you guys so much for joining Vash and I on this episode.
Man, you know the vibes. You know the vibes, good dog. You know we love being here.
Again, man. Thank you for having me.
I'm just happy to be back home on a show and full time this time, because these past couple of weeks I've been on my dad's house somewhere else. Had to leave a show early, couldn't attend it because of taking producers home. So like I'm happy. I'm a day off. I could finally be on a full show. Like last night on the podcast of Anime Lately, and this one on C4SVillains to be on a full episode and discuss comic book geekdom. So I'm very excited to discuss Loki with this group and everything and just be on the show. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. This episode of Loki was really, really funny. I feel like it had a lot of deep moments as well. A lot of fucking Easter eggs and a lot of stuff to talk about. I have so much notes. And we're only 2 episodes in. Like, that's the thing that's blowing my mind. Yeah. We're only 2 episodes in. There's 4 more episodes to go. And by the end of this episode, the shit has literally hit the fan. So it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes at the end of this 4 episodes. Does this mean that the multiverse of madness starts at the end of Loki? Who knows? There's so much to speculate, so much going on. But before we get into the Loki review, just have a couple announcements. First off, real quick, can't believe we're already on episode 22. It's kind of crazy. The Vash and I started this 22 weeks ago. Shout out to the man John Schnepp. Without Schnepp, Vash and I would not be doing this show. It would not be called Villains. I owe everything to John Schnepp and Kevin Smith in terms of like me wanting to become a content creator. So as we go along and keep making this show, Schnepp, it's for you, man. So other piece of news, just wanted to talk about the fact that we have successfully wrapped talking about the entire Infinity Saga. So we've talked about everything in MCU Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. We've talked about WandaVision, we've talked about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now we're here talking about Loki. So if you guys haven't checked out our MCU phase reviews, please go check that out. All of those links should be in the description below, as well as the links with everything that Abe and Steve has going on in terms of content creation. So just wanted to talk about that right there. And now I'm going to pass it off to Abe to talk about a giveaway that we'll be doing.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, JB. Thank you very much, Vash. Just careful for spoilers. We are collabing, as you know, as well as being part of Inside the Mind of a Blerd. I also have my own podcast called the Osa and Abe podcast. So we talk about sports, culture, all of that. And so I'm bringing that here into this realm because I am a nerd. You know, I'm a Blerd. And we are collabing with Careful for Spoilers to do a giveaway, a comic book giveaway. It's completely free. All you need to do are these simple things. Follow Osa and Abe podcast on Twitter. That's Osa_Abe podcast. Links will be in the bio in the description for sure. Follow Careful for Spoilers on Twitter. Then head over to my Twitch, Prince_ALawal. Follow me on Twitch. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube for Careful for Spoilers. And then, you know, it sounds like a lot. It's not, but this is the last bit now. And then head over to Twitter.
Just 4 things.
Tweet your favorite comic book character and use the hashtags Omonaija, OMONAIJA, and hashtag C4SVillains. We just want to see who your favorite comic book characters are. And just that alone, once you put that tweet out, you're entered. And we're going to close the entry period on Wednesday, next Wednesday, June 23rd, 9 p.m. PST. And on Friday, so episode 3 of the Loki review, formerly episode 23 of C4SVillains, we're going to do a live drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Winner gets to choose their copy of one of the 3 new Static Shock comics. Anyone, we have the original cover and we have the 2 variants. A lucky winner gets to choose this. We'll get in touch, and in terms of how to send it to you, please be in the United States. Thank you. We're not rich. I'm not made of money.
Yeah, that would be great.
But yeah. So that is our contest. We're doing a giveaway. We want to be able to give one of the lucky fans a free issue of Static Shock Season 1. Issue 1. We appreciate y'all. That's really all it is. We appreciate y'all. This is our way of saying thank you. So thank you, JB. Thank you, C4SVillains, for allowing me to partner with you to do something this fun. Because trust me and JB have spoken. We have several more giveaways in store that might pop up in the next couple of weeks. So just go ahead and do that for me.
Yeah, we have a lot in store. Abe, I appreciate you putting this all together. Abe did all of the promo work, all of the posts and everything. To make it easy for you guys, just go to carefulforspoilers.com. The very last article that has the link to this C4SVillains episode, it has all of the links in there. It's all hyperlinked. So just go to that article and you can literally just click on the names and it'll take you straight to Abe's Twitch, straight to the YouTube channel, straight to Abe's Twitter, straight to my Twitter, and that'll make it easy for you. You don't even have to search for it. Just go to the website, go to that article, and you can just click on the hyperlink. So yeah, man. Like Abe said, this is just the first of many. We have so many other collaborations going on, so many other giveaways that we're gonna be doing later on. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot more collaborations. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys are following Osa and Abe podcasts on Twitter. Make sure you guys are following Inside the Mind of the Blerd on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys support these guys because they make amazing content and like you have to support them. So there's only one piece of news that I wanted to talk about just to break the ice before we get into the Loki review. And that is the new Flash news, right? Andy Muschietti has been on Twitter and we have seen his new designs for Michael Keaton's Batman suit. We've gotten the new Flash suit, the new Flash logo. And as of today, he has released the first image of the Superman suit for his Flash movie. So we know it's going to be Flashpoint-esque. We know it's not going to be exactly like the comic, but it will be involving the Flashpoint storyline. So I want to know, Steve, I want to start with you. Do you have any excitement for the Flash movie? And does seeing these little glimpses of the suits make you even more excited or not excited?
Well, I have excitement for it because my favorite villain is Ibadan. So I'm assuming we're going to get to see him in this Flashpoint movie. And if we don't, that's when I'm going to be upset.
Facts,
but I'm pretty much assuming we're going to get him. And if we do, that's my favorite villain in DC. So I'm definitely excited about that. And I definitely love that this Supergirl, right? Suit? Is that a Superman suit?
It's a Superman suit, yeah.
Superman suit. Oh, okay. I'm thinking we're going to see Supergirl. Okay, so yeah, that Superman suit.
We might.
It does look good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this, and it's the Flash that we all know and love. The Flashpoint. I think that's the one that got a lot of people on the train on joining the Flash. Like a lot of people were Flash fans, but I think the Flashpoint is what really started this new wave of Flash fans coming in. So I'm very excited about it, honestly. As long as I get to see my man Thawne just do something diabolical, I'll be cool.
You have your hopes up.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also expecting to see Thawne. Like, if you don't start with Thawne, like, what are you even doing? But now that Chris was saying in chat, like, is it Superman suit or is it Supergirl suit? Because I was looking at it, I was like, are those boobs?
So
just like the small ones?
So,
like, the frame does look a little small. So, go ahead.
So I was gonna question that. It's because we know Kara's suit in most of her type of new style in the recent years, it has the red on top lately. So I feel like that could be Kara's new suit. But it's a possibility. We don't have no type of confirmation because Superman has had that color scheme with the red on top, but it like I think in the Rebirth or in the New 52. So like it depends if they want to use that new suit. But I feel like it could be Supergirl, and that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I'm gonna pull the picture up again. That definitely looks like breast to me and not pecs. Now that I think about it, so it could definitely be Supergirl. And Chris, you're definitely right. Like Supergirl was confirmed for the movie, but I mean, so is Superman. So it's like I automatically thought Superman for some reason, but now that I look at it, it's like yeah, that looks more like breasts than pecs to me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I mean,
I do want to say
my bad.
Could be all
the Flash suit, the new Flash suit looks amazing. Like I can't wait to see the full suit actually because it looks smooth. Like the actual logo, like this, just by the logo and just by the little square box design that we got, it looks already better than the CW 8-9 versions of them.
I do like the season 6 suit though. I think it's really dope. I think it's the closest we've ever gotten. But just this little glimpse, I think.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's so good. It looks so smooth. I'm like, Bruce Wayne finally put some money into it because I'm like, he said he will help him get a new suit, and I'm like, yeah, thank you, Bruce Wayne, for putting some money into a guy that just put some random parts together. Now he actually have a full suit. I'm like, that's amazing. So I'm hella excited for it.
Yeah. Abe, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm just putting away my whole DCEU expectations out the window. Because I was really excited for this originally because Flashpoint could give them the perfect opportunity to retcon the whole thing and set it anew, but that is not their intention. So I'm just going to enjoy the movie for what it is. And like y'all mentioned, Dawn, we had that Reverse Flash. He better be so petty.
Man,
and very
don't
very
have your
petty.
hopes up. It's Warner Brothers, so don't have your hopes up.
man.
Thanks for reminding me. I actually have no expectations for this movie anymore. I'm just going to watch the film.
I like Andy Muschietti. Andy Muschietti is a really good director, a really good writer. So I am excited for what he's going to do with it. But the director is not the boss, right?
Yeah,
the director
Warner Brothers has shown
there's so many other people that get hired before the director comes on. So
I know that news.
They look clean. They look real high tech. As Spicy mentioned in the chat, they do look alien. I was just like, man, they really stand out to me, especially the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see how it looks overall with the new suit, and how it looks in action and motion. So
yeah, Vash, did you have any other thoughts on the suits?
I was gonna say I just have hope. And curious to see what they're gonna do with Michael Keaton as well with his suit and everything. Like, how's he gonna be like? When you said in the beginning of the news that this would be a Flashpoint-esque type of story, I'm curious to know what they're gonna do with it, like, because the Flashpoint story we know is where we have Aquaman and Wonder Woman fighting as well. So are they gonna include that in the storyline as well?
I doubt
so
it.
like, I'm curious to see is that with what happened this past week with Warner Brothers and news and everything, and to know what Warner Brothers don't have a great track record. So I'm curious to know, how can that give us faith? Okay, cool, you put 3 dope suits. You posted that, awesome. But I'm curious to see, is there a trailer, a teaser going to come out within the next couple of 6 to 8 months to actually put us some type of faith into it. So that's what I'm being optimistic for.
Yeah, I would say the next 8 months or so. That sounds about right to get a teaser, a first look. But a Flashpoint event is just going back in time, changing something, and then coming back to the present. And of course, the events of time have been completely changed. So I think this is actually the perfect opportunity to clean the entire slate of the DCEU besides the things that actually worked, like the first Wonder Woman, like Man of Steel. You can fix everything else that didn't work because Flashpoint only changes certain things in the timeline, and you can make those things whatever you want them to be. So if they were smart, and they're not, they would use Flashpoint, this movie, as a Flashpoint event to wipe out the entire DCEU and literally reboot it into a new 52 / Rebirth type universe.
And that's the thing, because when it comes to time travel, the reason some people don't like it is because the rules get messy and you retcon too many things and there's inconsistencies. But DC, y'all have the perfect setup to allow you to retcon and nobody can question anything. Nobody can complain about anything. And if you fumble this, oh my God, I swear to God,
it's so easy to fix everything that you did wrong right now.
Like, I can't imagine people in Warner Bros. That would be working there or in DC Comics or what. And I bet you DC Comics people would be like, what the fuck are they doing over there across the street? Like, can you just get it right? We're here. Ask us for help. We will help you do it correctly. And it's just like, nobody does it. Like, damn. But yeah, just drowning.
The thing is, they do it on TV. Crisis was brilliant. It wasn't like the comic, but it was good enough to stand on its own. And it essentially, like, retconned a bunch of things and gave them an avenue to create a new multiverse with new rules, new characters, like Superman and Lois, like that Lex Luthor that's the villain, like we know he's from a deleted universe. So that kind of stuff is really, really cool. The stuff that was happening on Batwoman with Kate Kane's sister, her being a variant from another universe coming into this one because they all blended together. So the multiverse went from being infinite down to maybe like 5 or 6 universes within the DCCW universe.
And quick thing as well, that Lex Luthor is not really Lex Luthor. So I'm just say that right now.
Oh, he's not? Because I'm not caught up.
Nah, he's not Lex Luthor. I'm just say that.
So his first name is just Lex?
No, his first name is John.
No shit. All right, I guess I need to catch up.
It's intriguing.
John? Okay.
Yeah, it's intriguing. Like, Superman and Lois actually has been entertaining me more than Flash, which is very sad to say because I'm more of a Flash fan than a Superman fan. So, but overall, the TV show, it shows the different budget and storyline better written, so it shows that. And I know that's not in the news as well, but when careful spoilers, guys, if you guys don't follow the Twitter or the website, they posted a cool image of Titans season 3 with Barbara. I'm like, yo, I actually want to watch Titans now because of that. So like, why is the TV shows doing better stuff than the actual movies that they have more budget? I'm like, Titans are doing their own thing, their own storyline, but like DC movies have time too. Nobody's asking for them. So like, why the fuck are they rushing it?
You cannot tell. You cannot, like, if they try to do Crisis in the movies, you can't do that in 2 hours. That's fucking stupid. Which is why on the TV show it was like 5 hours, because it can't be done in 2. Can't be done in 2.5. So it's like the movies, the way they're written, they just don't work. It works so much better as TV series. But Steve, do you watch any of the CW DC shows?
No.
Don't blame
I watched.
You should. What's the first 2 seasons of The Flash?
I've only watched like the first 5 episodes of Arrow, and I was like, something's off. And I was like, I can't watch it.
Okay, so
interesting.
I would say watch the first 3 seasons. Watch the first 3 seasons of Arrow. Watch season 5 and 6 of Arrow, and then 7. Don't watch season 4 and 5 because
don't watch 3 either.
It's not great.
Oh, that's 3.
Sorry. Watch season 1 and 2. 5, 6, and 7. Don't watch 3 and 4. That's why I got mixed up.
And 8.
And for the Flash, watch 8. 8 is the one that kind of finish it off.
Yeah, I like it.
It's just 10 episodes because it's part of the. Yeah, I'll watch 8. For the Flash, if you're a fan of Dawn, I'm shocked you didn't watch the Flash. The first 2 seasons are great. It has Dawn and Zoom.
I haven't watched it, but I'm just not a fan of the CW in general with the way that their graphics kind of look on some instances and things like that. So I gave up before
That's fair.
Really gave them a shot, honestly and truthfully.
I get it.
So here's the thing, right? Tom Cavanaugh that plays Reverse Flash, there's some moments where he's even better than Thawne in the comics. And I don't care if anyone like agrees with me or not.
Yes.
Tom Cavanaugh is my favorite version of Thawne, period. This dude is incredible when it comes to playing Thawne. So like, please watch it just for Thawne.
Like an extra layer.
And he's in season 1. He's from
season 1.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
I will watch that because
they did a good job of starting us off with Reverse Flash. That was very wise to do that.
Yeah, and they get into like time travel really quick.
Yeah.
Like the first
multiverse
season, bro,
yeah.
is
It's one of the best seasons,
dog.
Okay.
The first season made me go back and actually start reading Flash comics and be like, all right, I need to give my man some respect.
So
the new 52 Flash run is incredible.
it's great.
It's so
do
good.
they show like Thawne go to the museum and see?
Sir, we're not gonna spoil what he just watch season 1.
Yeah.
That shit was so fire to me.
Just watch season 1, and also they have Captain Cold in season 1, so that's
I love
a
Captain.
good. He's a good character. He's a good character. He's the guy that plays Prison Break.
He's also on Legends of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He's on Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay. Damien Dark was a really good villain from Arrow. So
He was better in Legends than Arrow.
Yeah,
I agree.
The vibes I was getting to,
I agree.
He was way better in Legend.
So I would see trailers, and I didn't like I saw like a clip of King Shark, and I was like, nope. I was like, I'm not gonna watch The Flash. And I just always found different reasons not to watch it, just because of like little clips and stuff like that. But Thawne is my favorite villain, and if JB just said that he's better than some of the times in the comic, that's
I shit you not, bro. Like Tom Cavanaugh's performance
has done it. Is like peak. It's like amazing. He gets into his character of reverse. Like I wonder, Tom Cavanaugh has read the comics to actually know how to dive into that character, because I really feel like he has, because he does such a fantastic, like, whenever this man takes off his glasses, I feel like I'm seeing Thawne in my face right now.
Yes, bro.
Like, okay,
dude, he gives me
what snarky shit are you about to say right now?
He gives me chills. He gives me the vibes of the Thawne from the comics that would constantly go back in time and kill anyone that would be Barry's friend instantly. Like within the drop of a dime, he can go from that character into something completely else. Like, he's so diabolical. Like, Tom Cavanaugh's amazing, bro. Like, I don't want to oversell it, but he is amazing. And the chat can attest to this. Like, he is so good on the show.
I 100% agree. Quick thing, right before we jump into Loki, did you guys see one of the news? I saw that it wasn't on the news topic and everything, but Disney Plus announced that with how well people are watching Loki on Wednesdays, that they might be dropping their shows of Marvel and Star Wars and everything on Wednesdays now instead of Fridays.
That makes sense.
How did you guys feel about that?
That should be subjective. Because Mandalorian dropping on Fridays was mad convenient. I can't imagine really tuning in on. I mean, I will tune in regardless, but I can't imagine me being like, "Oh, Mandalorian Wednesdays." No, I like it as Friday.
I mean,
so. My opinion is that I hope they stay Star Wars on Fridays and Marvel on Wednesdays. That's my hope.
That makes sense. The thing is with me, I think that Fridays was good during COVID. But now that they're starting to open the world back up, people are going to start going out on Friday nights.
That's a good point, Steve.
And that's why
that's a good point.
They're moving it to Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's business wise, it should be done that way, because
I think
now that everybody can go outside, now that outside is open, people are gonna be outside.
Yeah,
so.
And then people are just gonna watch it on a different day anyway. But
like on Saturday, like on Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, or probably Sunday night, like that. Like, trust me, if me and James were not doing the show, I'll probably be watching on Sundays. Watching at nighttime or something, because
probably
Friday nights. I was driving around, people out in something about hookah lounges out right here, like a couple blocks away. I'm like, people are out on a Friday night already. People were ready. So like, I get it why Disney wants to change the Marvel shows on Wednesday nights, but hopefully they keep Marvel shows on Wednesdays and then Star Wars on a Friday, because I feel like that'll be better for people, to choose their days on which or event they could binge their shows. 2 shows on a Friday, Marvel and Star Wars on a Friday. I feel like that'd be better as well.
Yeah. I definitely love the fact that they do the week-to-week thing rather than Netflix, how Netflix drops it all at one time, because the week-to-week thing gives you that whole week to just talk about it and hype it up. I love that premise more than just giving it the whole season right then and there, because then it's lightning and it's 2 weeks, and then now it's not a trending topic anymore. Nobody cares. Whole year goes by, but you get 6 weeks, 8 weeks of straight up fire. and everybody's building it up and hyping it up. I love that.
That's why binging
Dang.
shows isn't really going to be the future, because if everything turns into being able to binge, what are people going to talk about when it comes to TV? You know, and people realize that. Hence why they still drop their shows week to week. Because it's like, look, you see us trending on Twitter. People talk about us every week. It's Snowfall Day, for example.
It works.
Atlanta Day.
Loki Wednesdays.
Exactly. Like
because Loki Wednesdays, it's a hashtag.
Yeah, if you drop it all at once, that means now what are people going to Disney Plus for? You know what I'm saying? And that's why Netflix is putting out so much hit or miss content. Some of them are really good, but they got to keep feeding us with something, and that's when the trash comes out. So I think what Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and everything is doing is working. I think that works.
Yeah, I agree completely, man. Because when you do it week to week, it allows fans to theory craft, right? Mm-hmm. And it also allows fans to do all of the marketing for you, right? Because for an entire week, right? Like since the last episode, like the four of us here, I mean, all we've been doing is talking about Loki for days. That's all we've been doing. So it's like we attribute to the marketing when it's week to week. It's like, oh, let's talk about this episode for days. All right, now that it's been like 3 days, let's talk about the anticipation for the episode coming up. And then there's like an episodic trailer that comes out. It's like, well, whoa, that's speculation. Are they on Vormir right now? Which is something that I'm going to talk about at the end of the episode, because the planet that Loki and Lady Loki are on kind of looks like Vormir, but probably isn't. But we'll talk about that once we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get into it, because I've been chomping at the bit to talk about Loki since Wednesday. I've seen it 4 times at this point. I cannot wait to talk about this episode. I have a shit ton of notes. So Steve, I want to start with you, and I want to know your general thoughts on Loki episode 2.
Of the whole episode? So
yeah, just general, no spoilers, just like general thoughts.
Oh, I was definitely I was enjoying it. And I was like, all right, so now I know a little bit after reading some Secret Wars, because I dove into Secret Wars real heavy. So now I know a little bit. I started finding these little Easter eggs and things like that, just straight Loki knowledge. So I've been trying to be able to be better at giving dialogue on these episodes, because I'm I don't know too much about Loki, but now I'm all right, they want me here for the whole season. I need to do better. I need to do my fucking homework. So I started doing homework, and now I'm starting to put pieces together, and I'm oh, that works. And something that you said last week came into fruition. I guess we'll talk about it later because no spoilers. But I was damn, JB was right. As soon as it happened, I was he was fucking right. I was all okay. So I actually really enjoyed it. And then just thinking about all the things that we talked about as predictions and some of the stuff that was unfolding and stuff like that, that really made me enjoy the episode a lot more. So I definitely enjoyed this episode. Some people said that they didn't enjoy the first half of the episode, and I'm are you kidding? I was all it was so many clues now that I've done my homework. I'm there's so much stuff in there. So yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing through and through.
Yeah. Abe, general thoughts.
General thoughts. I mean, look, there was some shade thrown in that episode. I loved it. JB, like I said, your theory last week was absolutely right. Nailed it. And I came in with your theory in mind, and I was paying more attention. I was yup, I see it. Confirmed. Bet. I really enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed the information that it provided and the groundwork that it laid. And even though my theory about the use of the charges was incorrect, the way it was still used just set me down another path. And so I'm really excited to dive deep and really dig into this show. But it was a great episode.
Yeah, Vash.
So I gotta give a quick shout out to my coworker Drew, because I was watching it at work on Wednesday. Because when I was watching it with him, me and him was just pausing and just theory crafting while we're watching it, and it was so entertaining to see that. Because I told him yo, I bet you that Lady Loki like that. How do you know? I'm one, they spoke up in the trailers a couple of times and they teased it and plus news articles. So it has to be her, unless it's her at the end of the show or the change up. And then it happened. But then he said an interesting theory, saying what happened if Loki, this whole thing makes the start of the multiverse of madness, and what happened if this caused the whole type of end game? And I'm like, yo, like that'd be fucking wild, like all disconnecting dots, like, and like I'm loving when he said that. It just made me more appreciate these shows that Disney Plus is putting the time to put out, like it's like Falcon the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, because this episode was so good. My favorite conversation, my favorite talk was when Mobius and Loki spoke about what do you believe in your faith. That conversation was peak throughout the episode. When that conversation ended, me and my coworkers stared at each other like, yo, that shit was fire. And like just knowing the conversation on like what do you believe in, and like the true like even though you never met these three type of lizards, but Loki said like, but you still believe in them. I'm like, yeah, because you have to believe in something. And I'm like, yo, that's freaking like religion and everything. Like I love that shit. Like this conversation was so fucking amazing, and I was so entertained by it. I had such a good time with it, and like that's my general thoughts. I don't want to get too much in details, but over general thoughts, I had a fucking great time.
Yeah, I had an amazing time watching this episode. I feel like this was just as good as the first episode, and I feel like it truly earned that 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The pacing was perfect. The score was ridiculously incredible in this episode. The acting, just watching Owen Wilson and watching Tom Hiddleston just play off of each other. Like I said this before, like some of my favorite moments is just watching characters talk to each other. There's no bunch of action and all of this shit. Just watching two amazing actors like just like riff off of each other for minutes on end, and you're so enthralled in what they're talking about. And Mercenary brought up the theory that Lady Loki is actually Enchantress, and I am going to destroy that theory in this episode. But I'll wait until we get there.
But don't say just
Chop.
but don't say just say Mercenary. Say Ray also, because Ray also said this in our group chat. So say both Ray and Mercenary.
Yes, but
Not you trying to throw Ray under the bus.
Yes, I am. Last night with Uno and everything, I'm throwing him under the bus too. So yeah.
You need to learn how to let go. That was the past, sir.
You need to learn how to let go.
But yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs. There's literally things literally in your face that tells you that it's not Enchantress. But there's little things that they put into the episode that make you think that it is. So think about it like this. It's no different than how they treat Monica in WandaVision. Her character is an amalgamation of every version of Monica Rambeau that was created in the comics. She's Photon and what was the other one? What was the other hero name? She's Photon, Captain Marvel, and whatever her other hero name is. She's all of those rolled into one. So that's what they're doing with Lady Loki. And again, I will explain once we get there. So let's get into the episode itself. We start off in 1985, Wisconsin at a Renaissance fair. And funny thing is, in the year 1985, Apocalypse, Nebula, Legion, and Flag Smasher were all created in the year 1985. So that was something really, really cool that the Loki series is doing. It's giving these little homages and announcements to things that came out in different years, depending on where we go. So yes, Chris, she is credited as Sylvie in the international credits, but I'll still explain why it's not Enchantress. But again, I will explain. But let's talk about that. So right at the beginning, the TVA agent C20 is kidnapped by Loki. And we know by the end of the episode, when they find C20, she's just like, it's real, it's real, it's real, it's real. So my question to you guys, why do you think Lady Loki took C20 when they made it perfectly clear that this Loki has never taken a hostage before? So what do you guys think?
Man,
I can just dumb it down to a person that doesn't know as much about it as you do. I just thought it was because Loki is a trickster. So let me do something different to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like to throw you guys off and do things like that. For somebody that's just kind of like blindly going in as me, whereas you guys are more deeply into the comics and things like that, you might probably have something way different in mind. But for me, I was just thinking, okay, she's doing something different. Loki, because we don't know it's she at that moment. But I'm like, I'm doing something different just to, play people and do a trick and everything like that. So that's what I thought it was. You have control over someone, and then you're just doing something different as bait and having a trickster moment. That's just what I was thinking. Now, I don't know what you guys think because you guys are way more into it than I am comic book wise. So I don't know what the theories are actually. But from a random Joe Blow like me, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, Loki the trickster, he's playing a trick. That's just all I thought.
So I actually have no theories. I have absolutely no idea why, out of all people, she would take C20. For what? For what reason? I have no idea.
I've been trying to figure that shit out since Wednesday. Like, for some reason, I was trying to like understand like why that character C20, like, does that number, does the C mean like a reason, or because we know that this character C20 is gonna last until the end to episode 6, so this character is gonna play a more important role until then. So I've been trying to feel like, what is C20 supposed to be more like important role? Because she seems like a leader of the squad. So like, does she play a higher type of ranking to know some type of records in her mind? And also she said it's real. I'm like, what? It's real, girl? Like, can you give us a snippet what's real? So like, did Lady Loki give her some type of info bank, like knowing what's the truth about the lizards, that they're not really there? Yes, I'm gonna call them lizards because I'm not gonna call them the whole gods and shit out there. I'm gonna call them lizards. So I'm like, what does it all mean? So I'm very curious to know about that. Abe, I want to know, do you have any theories in your head about the C20?
But look, like everybody, I have no idea. But what I will tell you is this. I love to imagine stuff. So for me, here's one thing that I imagine, because I'm obsessed with the Secret War storyline just because of Doctor Doom. You know what? Maybe she met Doom and saw that and had something to do with the Beyonders. She realized like, yo, there's already a multiverse out there. There are people outside the timekeepers who are influencing what's going on. Maybe she saw the Beyonders. Who knows? Is there proof of that? None idea. But you know what? I'm gonna have that floating in the back of my head. The next one is that, you know what? Maybe she came across the Serpent Crown. And I'll get more into the Serpent Crown later, but maybe she saw it. Maybe she came across one of the squadron members. Who knows? But you know what logic is telling me? I have no clue. I'm just legit, like the rest of y'all.
Yeah, legit. I'm like, I was trying to stretch balls. I was trying to, spitball there. I'm like, shit, I still don't got no clue. I'm trying to, read some comics online, legally and everything. I'm trying to find out, like, damn, what could it be? C20 and me. I tried to watch some YouTube videos. I couldn't finish all of them, so they still don't know either. So I'm like, damn, nobody knows what the fuck it is. So I'm like, damn, not helpful.
Your guess is as good as mine at this point.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I really have no idea, and I kind of don't want to spend time theory. Chris is like, Mephisto confirmed. So
I'll imagine, right?
So we did get a cool Nightmare reference in the first episode that we didn't talk about in that review, though. Mobius talks about a nightmare department that he needs help shutting down, and I think it's kind of a reference to the nightmare dimension, but we can talk about that later on in a couple future episodes. But I love the interaction between Loki and Miss Minutes. Like, I think Miss Minutes is absolutely hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
That was adorable.
I love that she gets pissed at him and just fails him on the test just because he was being an asshole. Like, what do you guys think about that?
It was cute. It was wholesome. I mean, I don't know what's going on with me. I was never for all those cute, wholesome moments, but now I appreciate them for what they are. It was just funny. They smack around and she's jumping up, one of them just jumps to the computer. I'm like, oh, okay. It was nice. It was a good moment.
Yeah, with her jumping around and stuff, it kind of felt like she was real in a sense. Like, she's somewhere and she can visually see what's going on in a sense. And you can even you can hear the little pitter patter of the feet and everything. I thought that was pretty dope how they did that with production wise. If you could hear the pitter patter of her feet and everything to show that she's not just a hologram, kind of made you give that illusion that she's kind of real. So I definitely enjoyed that. I thought it was cute.
Steve, I'm happy you brought that, because I was gonna bring that up as well, because I'm happy that they put those type of details in this type of little small snippets in this type of characters. Like, they didn't have to make her sound effects and everything, but for those type of details and those type of comedy effects, it goes one. And also that type of joke of him trying to study and fail the quiz and everything, it comes back in the fight scene of when they ask him as well, like, hey, what does this does? What does those tubes do? So like it shows that he's been studying with his mini, but it's just that he gets tired of those type of quizzes and tests. So I love how it came back full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Bree said, shout out to Tara Strong for voicing Miss Minutes.
Oh, that's
she
Tara
is the
Strong?
voice of
That's
so
dope.
many
Isn't she
different
Tom-
characters from DC animated shows, Fairly Odd Parents, you name it. Like she's on it,
Oh wow, did not know that was her. Wow, that makes sense. Wow, Girl did a fantastic job of it then. Wow.
So this next sequence that I want to talk about is one of the more significant moments of the episode for me, and this is when Mobius is talking to the other Minutemen and Loki, talking about the different Loki variants, and this is where they make it very clear that these Lokis all have the same basic powers, but they all have different abilities as well. So keep in mind, that's something to also remember there. I'm going to bring up an image real quick. So the first Loki variant, I really, really like this one because this Loki variant is very much like the Loki that we know, but he's blue like a frost giant. I really, really like that.
Correct.
I was,
Yep.
I was going to talk about that. I didn't know you was
Go
gonna
ahead, go
already-
ahead.
I know I didn't know you was gonna have these in the chamber. I was thinking I had a cool Easter egg. I was like, yes, I got something. But of course, you guys already found it. I was all like, oh, he's a frost giant. Look at that. Yeah, but okay, you guys got that one. I thought I had something.
Yeah, I wanted to get screenshots of the other ones, but I couldn't find like any like really good like quality ones. Nova brings up like a really good one here in chat. Loki Armstrong.
Oh, you Loki Armstrong.
love
Yeah,
that.
that's dope.
There was a design of Loki that was more closer to like North mythology. I thought that was really, really cool. You got a version of Loki that was more like ogre-esque, Hulk-esque. I don't really know what to call it. I thought that was really, really cool that all of these different variant Lokis all can look completely different. Some can look similar. They have basic powers, but again, they also each have their own individual abilities. And something that Mobius brings up that I thought was really, really interesting was the fact that Loki variants are the most variants that they've pruned since the TVA was created, which is nuts that there have been that many Loki variants. So I thought that was really cool. So I kind of want to ask you guys, like, which like Loki variant design was kind of your favorite?
The Hulk Loki. Because
it
it's like
definitely caught my eye.
it caught my eye because it reminds me of like the North mythology that James brought up. It's like I was like, that's what I'm used to, like, God of War, like those type of like North mythology, like Zeus and like that type of Loki. So it's interesting to see that. I hope we see that maybe throughout the show. Maybe it pops up like for a quick scene, some type of Hulk Loki, and just have the voice of his there. Cause that'd be really good to see. Like I'm curious to see what type of design would it be. So that's what caught my eye. And then my second Loki that caught my eye, it was Loki Armstrong. Like I'm curious to see more about that if we ever get to know about that. Like, oh, Loki Armstrong, like was that some timeline that he was the one that found the moon? So like that'd be pretty dope as hell.
Well, Lance Armstrong, the cyclist. That was a reference.
That was the athlete.
Yeah.
The athlete.
Not Neil Armstrong, but it's very interesting that Loki would use his god powers to win this competition. I'm like, dude,
so that's
really?
the one that stood out to me the most. It was the Loki Armstrong one because I'm like, hold on. Out of all of Loki's aspirations, he turned to sports. He decided like, hey, I'm just gonna be an athlete. You know what? I want to know more. I gotta beat this version of.
I wonder if that was a bet too. I wonder if he lost another bet.
That could have been a bet. That could have been a bet too with Thor and everything. Yes. Wow, that would have been dope. Wow. Now you're gonna be interested to see that if we're gonna see other versions of Loki that made bets with Thor and that Loki lost to. That'd be pretty dope.
The possibilities are endless, man, and that's what I love about this show. That's what I love about getting into Multiverse of Madness. That's what I love about the Easter eggs to Secret Wars. There's so many different versions of these characters that we can see at absolutely any moment. Steve, did you already give your choice for favorite
Oh,
variant?
mine honestly and truthfully was the fact that I was like, oh, we got a frost giant version of Loki. And I was definitely, that was the first time I even noticed, like the first time I watched it, I was just like, oh, these are different Loki variants. And then the second and third time, I was like, hey, let me start pausing it. So I was like pausing it every time one showed up. And I was like, oh, that's a frost giant one. And then I also liked the one where he was, because I play a lot of For Honor or whatever with the Vikings and stuff like that. So it was like that Viking version of Loki, and the horns were like way bigger and things like that. And I actually enjoyed that Loki as well. That was a dope variant as well.
Yeah, I would say the same thing with you, Steve. Like those two variants were definitely my favorite because I like getting closer to like the Viking Norse mythology like versions of Loki.
Mhm.
I thought that was really really cool. So let's get into the talk between Mobius and Renslayer, right? It's obvious that not even Renslayer has physically seen the Timekeepers. So it's like, how do you guys feel about the entire TVA just following the Timekeepers without ever seeing them, without actually knowing what they're about? Like, there's no real free will. Why are they so okay with the fact that there's no free will? Abe, I want to start with you.
The
Ooh,
reason
A
being,
first.
yeah, the reason being is that humanity wants to serve someone. Everybody wants to serve a higher power. They want to have a purpose, and the timekeepers give them this sense of purpose. And not only that, this sense of divine purpose. Like, yo, you guys are in charge of time. You guys control everything. You guys are really, really important. Okay, your self worth is increased as hell. So that's why they continue doing it blindly. No one, not even my man Casey, who out here getting bullied every day. You know, losing his food or getting stuff thrown at him. You know, he lost his milk in this episode that he was having, his hard earned milk. He even feels that he's important. That's all that it is.
Steve?
Yeah, same. I was about to say, you don't believe, there's religions that haven't seen God, but they believe in God. So there's something that you believe in just because there you want to believe in something. You can't just, I mean, there are people that don't believe in anything, but for the most part, people want to have something to believe in. And I feel like the timekeepers are that. And even though there's statues built and things of that nature, there's still no proof. In a sense, they haven't seen them, they don't know. So that's pretty much what I'm going with that. And she's, like you said, she clearly has not seen a timekeeper. And like there's so with that conversation, I don't know if you saw, but Morbius actually doesn't use the cup holder and things like that. I mean the coaster. So he leaves rings like on the table and things like that. But there's a scene where there's a ring on the table prior to that, and she always talks about this um other guy that she has that also works for her. I wonder if there's a different variant of Morbius that works for her because he doesn't use coasters. So I'm assuming maybe there's a different variant of Morbius that, because I've, like I said, I've been doing my little research, thinking I'm finding something. And there were clones of Morbius in the comics. So I'm thinking maybe, oh shoot, there's a ring right there that's not using the coaster. So maybe there's another variant of Morbius that works underneath her, that's using that's in her office drinking and not using the coasters as well. So
I like that you bring that up because we've never seen any of these other analysts,
Thank you.
right?
yeah,
But
Thank you.
here's the only reason why I don't think it's that it's another Mobius. It's the pen from Franklin D. Roosevelt High School. I think that's from someone else who is also an analyst. I don't think it's also Mobius. But that is a very very interesting theory because again, we haven't seen any other analysts yet. So what does that mean? You know, go ahead, Vash.
I was gonna bring that question to you because I'm like, we only see Mobius to show. Like, yes, of course, like the show is the main center of him, but I'm like, we sometimes see other side characters, and we only see other type of agents, like, C20, then B21, and everything. Like, we see these type of agents on the field, but we don't see any other, workers like Mobius. So where are these other workers like Mobius that that go to find the work and work with other variants? So I'm like, there has to be more, unless we don't see them for a reason, for story purposes. So I'm curious to know if we're gonna bump into them. So, but to answer with the question you asked, I agree with Ray. I'm curious to know if these gods are not even there no more. Like if these gods are not even looking at the time. Like I wonder if this type of storyline is like we don't have these gods even at the end of time to see the timeline and how it should continue moving forward. Because I feel like they just
there are
kind
gods.
No, there are gods, but I feel like
they just go by a different name. Beyonders.
Oh no, like Beyonders, but I feel like they're not right now at the TVA. Like I feel like these gods that they look up to, aka the lizards, I feel like they left the chairs. Like, they went, deuces, we're done out here, and they haven't told anybody, or no one found out, or somebody took them. Who knows?
I guess you more excited for Doctor Strange too, doesn't it? I guess you more excited for that.
So Chris brings up an interesting point. Or could the other analyst be Kang? The possibilities are endless, dude, but I don't know.
I hope so.
Right? There's a part of me that wants to believe that Kang used to be like a timekeeper, and then he realized like what it was all about, and then like he decided to not be a timekeeper anymore. But I mean, I'm just spitballing. This is not like an actual theory I have, but like it could be interesting. And this is the interesting about time and how the timekeepers work, right? Like they know the beginning and the end, right? The beginning. The beginning has already been written, and they're writing the present as it moves along, going into the future. So it's like maybe Kang figured out like what the timekeepers are really about and decided not to be a part of that anymore, right? But who knows?
I like your theory. The reason being, even after episode 1 and the possible storylines that we speculated, I feel this is the perfect chance to again just to drop a Kang cameo in preparation for us going into the rest of Phase 4 and get into Ant-Man 3. It makes sense. It's the perfect opportunity just to have like after credit scene. How they did Thanos, you do the same thing with Kang, and then we're like, okay, who's that? Bam, Ant-Man 3, we're like, oh my God, that was Kang. Oh my God, that was Kang.
Or even, you don't even have to show the face, just show a little name tag or like a desk. Kang, like you don't have to show the face of the, maybe they haven't cast the actor yet. Or even just a silhouette
standing with, like, in glory. And if I see a silhouette standing in glory, I'm going straight Kang. Unless he has a long cape and it's green, then I'm going to, like, orgasm.
I'm going to orgasm.
But, since we're on the topic with, of them never seeing these gods, aka these lives on Earth, can we also talk about the conversation that Mobius and Loki had of what is that they believe in faith in Earth? Because I really want to know, like, how do you guys feel about that? Because that conversation to me was my favorite part of the episode, of how Loki had to question Mobius and how Mobius felt like Loki was right asking, but at the same time he said it so beautifully, like, you need to believe in something. You need to believe and have faith in something. If you don't, what else is there to live? And I love how Mobius, the actor, my man, almost, and I know I'm gonna say this right now, when he, by the end of episode 6, when he rides a jet ski, is when he's gonna say whoa, or the wow that he says all the time.
So I really want to get into this, bro. I really, really do. But right before we get into that, there's something else that happens right before that. And it's Loki doing all of his research, because the thing that you're talking about, Vash, we're going to talk about that for a minute. So Loki's doing his research. He finds out about the destruction of Asgard. And then that's when he starts to figure it out, right? He goes to Mobius, and then we get the entire scene about Ragnarok being the salad, right? So let's talk about that. I think it's absolutely hilarious. All right, the salt. This is the Hulk, right?
Yeah, just push them off the rainbow.
The milk.
So
just push them off.
So I love this theory. This is where time travel gets really, really interesting. These are the loopholes that we can get into, and I want to talk about this, and then we'll get into what you were talking about, Vash. So Steve, I want to start with you. And I want to know how you feel about this hole within how the TVA works, where it's like, well, if I travel to a moment in time that has an apocalyptic event, if everyone's going to die anyway, I can do whatever the fuck I want time doesn't change. It doesn't matter because by the end of it, an apocalyptic event happens, wiping out everything. All life, it's all gone. So what I do right before then doesn't matter. I think it's really, really cool. I love when there's a little loopholes in time travel. So Steve, what do you think about this?
I thought that was brilliant that they did that to give you that loophole in there anyway, to show them where they can hide and a way for the Loki variants can hide and everything like that. I do wonder how early they can time travel into that area though, because they never actually tell you how early that Loki could be there. Could she be there for a week? You know what I'm saying? Or could she only be there for hours in advance?
I think so.
Like that. Because if she's hiding out, you know what I'm saying? For her to hide out, you can't just jump everywhere every 10 hours. You know what I'm saying? I would think that she has to have time to rest and do things like that. So I'm wondering if she's there for weeks at a time or things like that. And it doesn't matter because they're going to all die anyway. So that is something that I did question, but I love the fact that they had that loophole and whoever thought of that and everything like that. I think that's dope. Just like I said, I love time travel. That's one of my things that I really do love. And I like that loophole where it's like I can do whatever I want to and I will not affect the timeline because they're all going to die anyway. So I did love that. I love the fact that are we at the point where we're going to talk about Loki causing havoc, or are we not doing that yet?
At Pompeii?
Yeah. Are we talking about
that? We're going to talk about all that stuff, yeah.
Even when Loki is there, and what was funny was, I don't know if you guys caught this funny line, but he releases all the goats, and he's like, "Go, my horn friends." And I was all like, "Oh yeah, Loki's got the horns." You know what I'm saying? I was like, he's like, "Go, my horn friends," and things like I thought those
that.
were
Wow.
like,
you're free. Nothing matters.
Nothing matters.
You're gonna die. Go, be free. Volcano.
I thought that was cool, and then like the fact that even the fact that this Loki variant is thinking of doing this just tells you how intelligent Loki is as a character. You know what I'm saying? The fact that they even thought about, oh, I can go here because nothing I do will affect anything like that. That just lets you know how intelligent Loki is, and I know he's known as a trickster and things like that, and even in the movies Thor kind of like makes fun of him and they got that banter and things like that to make you think that Loki is not that intelligent, but Loki is clearly freaking intelligent, like genius level intelligent, and that shit really played a big role, a big part of his intelligence, showing his intelligence.
It takes genius to be a master manipulator, dude.
Yeah, so I definitely enjoyed that. That's my thoughts on it.
Abe, what you got?
Man, just genius. There was so much from it that I appreciated. Just from the moment he's reading it, and you start to see the emotion in his eyes. You start to see his eyes start to water as he realizes, like, yo, Ragnarok is like, it actually happens. Asgard is completely gone. Regardless, we saw him cry in episode 1. Well, seeing that he was responsible for the death of his mother and start to get shaken up when he saw Thanos killed him. So just seeing that more emotion. Because again, this version of Loki doesn't have that redemption arc. Everything we know of Loki after Avengers 1 doesn't count at this moment.
Yep.
So for the MCU to kind of give us more character depth that way was pretty dope. When he started doing his clumsy metaphor, I was laughing the whole time because it just so seemed Loki. Because not only that, it's not like he would purposely do something clumsy, but just as like, hey, Mobius, fuck you, you know? Like, you eating? Yeah, let me roll your food too. I could see Loki just being petty like that, right? Mm-hmm. And something that kind of I noticed several times is may not mean anything at all, but we saw how he was crying when he was reading. He was starting to cry when he was reading the report on Ragnarok, and when he mentions it to Mobius, Mobius is like, no, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah. Anyway, like, let's focus. Dismissive. It just, this is Loki. He's not going to let emotions show more than it needs to unless he needs you to see emotion. And for him to just wipe something away that we clearly know affected him, I was like, all right, Loki's back in his element. the Pompeii scene. Everybody loves doing the Pompeii scene when they do time travel. Like they really do.
They always do.
My mind went immediately to Doctor Who, which was funny given
Facts, bro.
the premise for both episodes. So for any of my Doctor Who fans, I forgot what season it is, but there's a episode where they travel to Pompeii.
5
because of I think
6?
so.
5 or
Because
6?
it was with not
It's Matt Smith and it's Amy and Rory for sure.
Amy, yes. So
No.
It,
I'm wrong.
It wasn't Amy.
I'm wrong. I'll have to look it up. So Amy's in the episode as a completely different character. She's not Amy yet. So that's why she gets cast as a companion, because she was in a previous episode of Doctor Who. And Peter Capaldi is also in that Pompeii episode, who also later becomes a doctor. So I think that happened with Tenet, actually. So that might have been like 3 or 4, actually.
Okay, so that might have been Rose then. Or not Martha. Not Martha. Yeah.
Not Martha? You sure?
I
can't remember now.
Yeah, I gotta go check that. Anyway,
I'm a failed Whovian.
I'm so sorry,
I failed.
guys. But in this Doctor Who episode, they go
Ray
to Pompeii
said
because
Ray said it was Tenet.
I mean,
Well, yeah, I know it was Tenet, but I'm trying to figure out who the companion was.
But they go to Pompeii, irregularity, and the companion, whoever it was, we just can't remember her at this moment. She wants.
It was Timmy Winry.
No, that's Timey Wimey. That's what it's saying.
They wanted to help this family. Like, yo, this family took us in. They've been helpful, and the doctor's like, no, this is a fixed point in time. These people are all meant to die. Like, I cannot pull them out, etc., etc. Watch the episode to just figure out the rest.
It was Donna. Thank you, Ray.
It was Donna. Oh
Donna,
my gosh! And Donna's my favorite companion. I completely forgot.
No shit. All right.
Wow. Yeah. That's a whole different discussion.
Yeah. So, guys, pretty much this means that Abe and I are starting a Doctor Who podcast. Stay tuned.
Yo,
and
like,
Steve, because Steve is watching it right now.
I'm watching it currently. I need to get back on it now.
Me too. I'm watching it.
You are?
I just started it. Yeah, I just started. I just haven't hit it yet because I've been working all week, but I just started last week.
But anyway, so to steer it back, so in this episode, the fact that they're like, yo, it really doesn't matter. You ultimately can't change it. You can tell people what's coming. You can tell them like all this crazy stuff. Time will not change. And I like that aspect because it allowed, like you mentioned earlier, allowed for some loopholes. It allowed for time travel to be more realistic, I would say. More plausible, and me have less problems because now the plots that I'm thinking of, the possible storylines can fit better, knowing that you can always hide in the apocalypse because no matter what, it's meant to end. That timeline is meant to end. Nothing will remain.
Yeah, I love that. Like, they've done such a really good job. So, Loki has somewhat modified the time travel rules from Endgame, but keeps the core values of the time travel rules from Endgame. So I loved what they kept. So like you were saying, Abe, like if you were to go to Pompeii, the apocalyptic event still happens, but like that ends, like it can't create a nexus point because of the apocalypse. Everyone there dies. All of Pompeii is gone, right? So if we were to compare that to the example with like Steve, right? When Steve went back in time, that is 100%. That is 100%. What do you call it? A branch timeline, but it's so small that it doesn't create a nexus and it doesn't create an alternate reality. So that's what Loki clarifies that Endgame doesn't clarify. Endgame would have you believe that it's an alternate timeline and an alternate reality. But Loki clarifies that this is just a branch timeline, which is still different from the main timeline, but it's not big enough that it would cause a nexus point, which would destroy all of creation and then creating like a paradox, right?
So, James, I love how you said it, but just the way Loki said it and just literally mess up Mobius and I think the guy that was working, Carol or something, his name was, Abe. What was the guy's name that was working there? That guy's milk stolen?
Oh, Casey?
Yeah,
Hey,
Casey sounds
yeah.
close to his name. So Casey and Mobius just got their whole lunch break messed up and just got the whole salad mixed with milk and everything with salt and pepper and everything. And just the way Loki just kept saying, let's just imagine throwing the Hulk off the Rainbow Bridge. I was like, damn, my dude's still spiteful, but I'm like, oh yeah, this is the Avengers Loki because he literally just got pedigree and thrown like a rag dog
yeah.
by the Hulk. So that's why he's still, salty about that.
Literally.
So I'm like, that's amazing. And also to add to Abe's point that when Mobius said, "Hey, I'm sorry about Ragnarok, I'm sorry about Asgard," I love how they keep the continuity that Loki doesn't show emotions to anybody other than himself, by himself, or to his mom and Thor. But this current Loki hasn't shown emotions to Thor. It was the later version of Avengers 3 and so on is when he has shown emotions to Thor. So I love how they kept it continuity where Loki don't show emotion to anybody other than when he's by himself. So the only two times we have seen him cry is when he did the research and was when he saw his mom, dying and when he got killed by Thanos and everything. So I love how they kept that going throughout the whole MCU. So I love how they kept that in a continuity. So pick that.
Yeah, it's like this episode is incredible, dude. Like the writing is so good. So Vash, this is where I want to transition to what you were talking about. I want to start with you. Actually, I want to know how you felt about this exchange between Loki and Morbius. Like, how did you feel about it?
So like, I was watching with my coworker and like we literally just were like we were imagine like we were playing a video game and then we just leaned forward like just getting serious and because that conversation was so real life type conversation when you have with your friends when you're drinking or getting high and everything and you ask like what is real, religion, God, what came first, earth and everything. And I love how Loki just spoke to Mobius about that, asking like, how do you believe to three lizards that you don't even know that's real or actually there in the timeline actually trying to correct stuff. And I love how Mobius not countered that but gave him something like, I don't know if they're real or not, but I do this because it's something I believe in and it's something that I'm doing right. And I hope I'm doing something right. And I love how Loki didn't really get mad or try to counter that. He accepted that it's because he understood that like you yourself is a god, right? You Loki, god of Asgard. And then he said, like, look, those guys are the god of the timeline. So what is real? Like, are you a god on Earth as well? Because when you go to Earth, you really always like to announce yourself as god of Thor, god of Loki, but in other places do you announce like that. So I love that conversation. It felt very symbolism in that type of realm in that conversation, and it felt so natural. So I really have to give a props to the writing, to the atmosphere, and plus to the actors. They did such a fine job to make it real. Like it didn't feel forced, and I love that very much.
Honestly, I love what you said, Vash, because for me, I see it as again the master manipulator, but also the
Yeah.
fact that in this situation, especially what you said, the latter part, every episode Loki's been humbled in some way, and he's been humbled to remind him that he's not this all-powerful power that he thinks he is. Remember when he's watching the events of Infinity War, of Endgame, no, of Infinity War, and watching Thanos basically choke my man's out, just kill him right then and there. He's like, what? Like, okay, I can die. And then the TVA, wow, there's a power that is above me that even I can't even fathom. He's constantly being humbled. And here's the thing: a humbled Loki is never good for anybody. That is not what you want in life. You don't want a humbled Loki because a humbled Loki is going to lash out and start the plot, and we're going to get that.
Yeah, man. Like, there's so many interesting things that came out of that moment. Like just watching them talk, like you can tell that Morbius doesn't really get to have these types of conversations with many people, which kind of like makes me question like the type of people that work for the TVA. You know what I mean? Like none of them are like Mobius, and out of all people, he's finding like a friend and a confidant in Loki. So it's very, very weird. But I love that conversation between them, right? And during that entire conversation, one Easter egg that's really, really cool. During that entire conversation, in the background, you can see one of the levels says T372. That is reference to Thor 372, which was the first appearance of the Time Variance Authority in Marvel Comics. So I thought that was a really, really cool Easter egg.
I did not notice that one.
For them to drop into the episode. So that was really, really dope. And this is the moment where they realize, this is where Mobius realized, oh, here's what we can do, right? We can take the information that we have. We know that this Loki hides within these like pre-apocalyptic events. Thank you, Ib. And then we have the clue from the Kabloo candy, right? So this is where he gets the idea. All right, so Kabloo candy was manufactured between the year 2047 and 2051. So this gives us this time frame of apocalypses where this Loki could be hiding, right? So this is really, really cool detective work that we're getting between Loki and Mobius. Absolutely love it. And this is where Loki realizes this is the perfect place. Alabama 2050. And it happens to take place at a Roxxcart. I think that's so cool that we've gotten so many Roxxon Easter eggs and stuff. Go ahead, Vash.
I was gonna say, like, those things they say, because they said something about year 2030 and I think 2040 and I think 2050. I would laugh because they said something about some type of tsunami, some type of power outage or anything like that. I would laugh and be so sad that if Marvel did some type of Simpson work and actually predicted some type of future for us as well. I'm like, that's some type of scary shit too. But like, that's only, off topic, but like in a funny way that if Marvel Loki did on top of predicting future for us, that'd be scary as hell.
So I love what Nova brings up, right? I'm going to toss this to Steve first, right? Nova says, I love him saying, if you think about where we came from, who are, what? I can't read today. who we truly are, it all kind of sounds ridiculous. So I really, really like this moment between Mobius and Loki, because it's just like, yeah, dude, if you really had to look at it, if someone had to say, yeah, frost giants, Loki and Odin and Thor of Asgard, the Rainbow Bridge, it all sounds like fucking nonsense, right? Even Solveig in the first Thor movie, he was talking about, these are things that I read as a kid. These are in storybooks. These are not things that are actually real. And Mobius is like, yeah, attribute that to the timekeepers. Like, yeah, it's just stories that you've heard. It can all sound pretty ridiculous, but it's all real. You have to accept what is and not try to put so much stock into how it came to be and why is it real. So Steve, what do you think about that? What do you think about all of this?
I think Loki has to take it all in that, like, to some people, I'm a fairy tale. And in some variations, I'm Loki, I'm a god, where he kind of tells Hulk to calm down. Like, it's just a few minutes, like, I guess technically in his world, a few minutes ago, or a few days ago, he tells Hulk, I'm a god, you need to calm down. And then the Hulk grabs his leg and smacks him around. You know what I'm saying? He's like, it's kind of one of those situations where he's like, if you think about it, like, you're a fairy tale to some people. In some situations, you're bigger than what you are. There's just different variations of how people see you. And just because you see yourself as this bigger and on a pedestal god, in some variations, like the one that I'm on in the TVA, you're just, you know what I'm saying, just some kind of made up fairy tale. And I think that also plays into play with the way that they kind of just threw the time stone and all those things to the side, the infinity stones to the side, where it was just like, oh yeah, I got a whole drawer full of those shits. You know what I'm saying? Whereas just like, it's not important in the big grand scheme of things. It's just not as important. And that's how Loki, I think Owen Wilson's kind of telling Loki, like, if you think about it in a fun way, like, you know what I'm saying, where you came from, it's not really that big in the grand scheme of things. And then also, I didn't get to talk about the candy and things like that, but even Morbius talks to him. He's like, you guys got candy in Asgard? And then Loki's like, grapes.
Berries, nuts.
And then you think about Loki pretending to be fucking Odin and he's eating fucking grapes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, he's eating candy. Like in his eyes, he's eating
No
candy.
wonder you're so bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but just in my eyes, it just I think that also is like a callback to the freaking first episode when he
Yeah.
opens the door and there's Infinity Stones, and it just shows how insignificant you think you are so big in the universe, but you're so insignificant. And I think that's a very big callback to that.
Thank you so much for bringing that up, right? Like that is literally the message. It's like the Infinity Stones are exactly like Loki. It's like once pulled out of your universe, you're nothing. You are nothing. Right? The Infinity Stones make up reality per universe. The TVA, the Timekeepers, exist outside of the multiverse, outside of time. So it's like to them, there's no use, right? Like the Infinity Stones are absolutely useless. They have absolutely no power because they're universe based. Hey, what do you got?
Oh man, look. Am I going to get into a theory right now? Well, since we covered Roxxcart, like,
Yo, let's get it.
Is that okay? Okay, so it's kind of a spoiler to the end of the episode. Is what? No, it's not a spoiler though. I apologize. Roxxcart. We know that this is a subsidiary of Roxxon Energy Corp. For anybody who follows the Marvel comics, Roxxon is a being, kind of like Wolfram and Hart with Angel, right? I'm gonna make a lot of Angel references, I think. Anyway, so that's what Roxxon is. So they exist. They do some good. They also do some bad. They've been crucial to the founding and the functioning of Shield. They've also been crucial to Hydra trafficking weapons. They work whatever side makes some money, right?
Exactly, right? Whatever makes them money.
Exactly. So here we are. We got Roxxcart. Blatant as day. It's already in the MCU. Also, Roxxon was mentioned in Marvel's Shield, but since I'm not really sure that's its own thing now, unfortunately, we get it in the main MCU or 616. Cool. Remember the end of episode 1 when the Loki variant burned all those hunters alive. One of the things that they did was touch the ground, oil. Oh, someone rich came here. Someone got a time machine, came here, tried to get rich. Because you strike oil at this right time, set up your whole billionaire company. Roxxon Energy started off as an oil company. Now, when you go back to that, it could be like, oh, hey, I mean, of course it was oil because it was a fire trap that the Loki variant said. Absolutely. But oil. There are other flammable subjects, but oil. And then the next episode is Roxxcart. Look, if we get Roxxon Energy Corporation, this is why the end of episode 2 is so crucial. Because there is an item called the Serpent Crown that is tied with Roxxon Energy Corp. And that Serpent Crown exists in every universe. Bring 2 or more together, it becomes stronger. Wouldn't it be beneficial for Roxxon and the Serpent Crown to have a multiverse comeback?
Yes.
Let's just think about it. Just think about it. So
I've been thinking
really
about it
excited.
since you mentioned it. Like I doubt it'll pay off in Loki, but these are things later on.
These are
the
definitely
MCU,
storylines we could get. Yeah, because Roxxon can be that kind of non-planetary destruction level threat you can constantly play with throughout several movies, throughout several shows, have them always be a constant entity. So we need that currently in the MCU because we actually don't have that. Since Hydra is technically disbanded, even though we know there's sex and whatnot, we don't have that one threat that can just pop up anytime and it's normal. Right. So why not Roxxon? Especially now that the Marvel has most, if not all, of their Marvel characters again. Roxxon gets involved with the Secret Avengers, gets involved with Nova, gets involved with the X-Men. You just give yourself plenty of storylines to play with.
Yeah, man, and that's one of the great things about the MCU. Like, a lot of these teasers and Easter eggs don't have to mean anything for either the movie or the series in this moment. It's all about what's going to happen later on, right? we talked about either in the first episode or when we were talking about the Infinity Saga, but they name drop Endgame from Age of Ultron. You know what I mean? Like, there's always little Easter eggs everywhere. So I love that you brought that up, Abe, because there's so many possibilities. They did not bring up Roxxon for no reason, right? It could have been any supermarket for any reason. But this is where... Go ahead, Vash, and then I want to get into the Lady Loki stuff.
I'm happy they brought up Roxxon, because for those people that never tried or watched the Hulu show Cloak and Dagger, it just only lasted 2 seasons.
Never saw
the
it.
main villain was Roxanne. So I'm very happy they brought back the villain, and supposedly.
Oh no. Roxxon is a multi-billionaire corporation.
The corporation, yeah.
It's not a single person. They're like Shield, Hydra. They're
I know. Yeah, I know. But that same corporation was the main antagonist. It's just that I never finished season 2. I just watched season 1, and I know that they had the main antagonists of Roxxon there. So that's pretty dope that they brought it back in the MCU, because supposedly Cloak and Dagger was in the same continuity of
Okay,
MCU.
that's confirmed. Is it?
Yeah, they did confirm it, but they did confirm it, but then season 2 got axed. So I'm like, what was the point of confirming it when you guys never gonna continue building up though? But at the end of the day, I'm happy that they brought back. Who knows if Cloak and Dagger is ever gonna join the MCU in the future? But I hope they are, because they did have a interesting dynamic, and those powers came from Roxxon. So to actually see those characters in the future, I hope to see them. But I'm glad, like what A brought up, to bring this big type of corporation like Shield and Hydra that has not fallen, to bring it back now to MCU. I'm very glad to see that. So I'm curious to know what else are they going to stay in the longer run as well.
Yeah. Steve, any thoughts on Roxxon in the MCU? I know you're not a big comic guy, but any thoughts?
Well, see, like, I'm getting more into comics, so I have actually seen some of the theories on Roxxon and things like that. So I, like you said, I've been trying to do my homework for these episodes, so I don't seem too much of a novice. I want to hold my own in some sense, but yeah, I've seen the theories on that, and I was all like, okay, so Roxxon, I don't know very much about it. I just seen the little theories on it and things like that. So I did know about the oil company that Abe was talking about, and I was all like, okay, so I know that theory, but I don't know anything past that. All I know is that they were started from an oil company. People they basically told us about the Easter eggs, but then they haven't went more in depth in it, because I've been on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm on YouTube and I'm trying to find out more about it, but they didn't go more in depth with it on the conversation. So the only thing I can do is continue my Secret Wars read and hope that it's going to pop up in there. So that's all I've gotten from that. Most of my comics, like, you know, I'm on Invincible, like more independent comics. I haven't really been on the DC Marvel. Well, I'm on the DC train heavy now, but I haven't been on the Marvel wave as much. So I'm trying to catch up, and hopefully by episode 4 of Loki, I'm ready. I'm here with you guys, because I'm doing my reads, but I can only do so much.
Of course.
So that's all I got right now. Other than, all I know is that people were saying that it was an oil company, things like that, but they didn't go in depth with the videos. So I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So all I can do is just wait.
Again, I said this last week, and we've all said this too. This Loki show is a keystone of Phase 4 and future phases. This, I mean, by the end of this episode, it does what DC's Flashpoint is supposed to do. Okay, that's what it's supposed to do. You got to do it with Loki. This is we're going to reference this show a lot in the next few years. Like, we're going to always come back to this show as a focal point. Loki is a Nexus event.
I can definitely see it. Like, the way that they're doing all these timelines and things like that, I'm like, oh yeah, everything about Loki is going to be all through the rest of the phase. So I can definitely see that. And I don't even have to know much about comics, but that much right there, I can see it.
Yeah. So let's get into the final part of the third act, right? We're inside of the Roxxcart in Alabama 2050, and we see this Loki switching bodies, right? We're not sure exactly what's happening, but we're seeing them switching bodies. This was one of the first things that led to the theories about the potential of Enchantress. It's like, well, Loki doesn't have the ability to control other people's minds or control their bodies. But later on, earlier on in the episode, remember, Mobius says that this is like each different Loki has their own abilities. They have the core, they have the same core powers, which is what did he say? I wrote it down too. Shape shifting and illusion projection, right?
Yeah.
Those are basic powers, but they all have their own abilities, just like how they have their own looks, right? So that doesn't mean Enchantress. Wait, Vash, I'm getting into a whole thing, and then you'll go next. So this is why I don't think it's Enchantress, right? Like Chris and Nova brought up earlier, this is going to be yet another amalgamation. She is 1000% Loki. First off, her energy signature, her temporal signature, is that of a Loki variant. That's number one. Number two, right? And I'm gonna bring up this image that you guys can see. So when I bring up the image of Sylvie, we can see this document. When Loki was looking through the document, we can see that her name is Sylvie Laufeater or some shit like that. So we know from that as well that she is also a Loki variant because she's also born from a frost giant, right? That is the other thing. The third thing that leads me to believe that it's Lady Loki is that for this Loki series, it makes sense that Loki would see other versions of himself that are actually evil, so that he can see that everything that he's done was all out of his own fear, out of his own insecurities. It's humbling. Correct? This Lady Loki is the true evil version that he's been telling himself that he was this entire time. So this character is very important to his development, not only for this series, but for Loki in the future. Now here's where the amalgamation comes in. The name Sylvie, right? Sylvie L. I can't remember exactly. Lushton, right? She is a character from Marvel Comics that received her powers from Loki and took on the name of the Enchantress after Amora, right? I think we'll see Enchantress possibly by the end of this series or in Thor Love and Thunder, but she is 1000% Lady Loki. Like, all of the evidence has shown me that she is definitely Lady Loki. Again, her temporal energy says that she's a Loki variant. Her last name shows that she's a Loki variant. Her attitude, she is just like Loki, right? I think she might go by the name Enchantress. Like when she says, like when she's in the, what was the name? Brad or whatever, Brandon, whatever the hell his name is. She's like, don't call me Loki. Yeah.
Oh,
because you're supposed to, yeah, Randy. Because you're supposed to call me Sylvie or Enchantress. I hope it's not Enchantress, because I feel like that would be a stupid idea to completely close off having Amora in your universe. So that's another reason why I think it's Lady Loki, and we'll get the actual Enchantress later on. But calling her Sylvie is taking that Sylvie from the comics, mixing it in with Lady Loki and ALawal, which if you don't know about ALawal is a version of Loki who is very gender fluid, which is what they put on Loki's documentation, that his sex is fluid. So ALawal would constantly switch genders constantly, right? So I feel like in this episode it was an Easter egg. See how Lady Loki was constantly switching from controlling men and women? I feel like that's an Easter egg to show you that, yo, this Lady Loki is Lady Loki, Sylvie, and ALawal all rolled into one. Again, much like on WandaVision, where Monica is an amalgamation of every version of that character. Photon, Captain Marvel, it's all the same shit in the MCU. So that's why, it could be something else. I don't mind being wrong, but based on all of that evidence, that leads me strictly to believe that Sylvie is Lady Loki and they're just bringing it all together. So who wants to go first? And either challenge me or agree.
I just want to give props to the actors. Randy, to those people that works at Roxxon and everything, because I'm guessing like being with the CW, when we see guest actors, they're not always so good. So I feel like when I watch some of these shows, I feel like I'm underwhelmed or like have lower expectations. So when I saw these actors playing the Lady Loki, or transferring body to body, they were doing such a fantastic job, giving that Loki atmosphere, giving that Loki vibe. Even though you weren't Loki, but you were Loki, the actor, the attitude. I love that. So I was very happy. So I really want to give those props to those actors that was transitioning from body to body for Loki. And I love how the conversation of our Loki was not fighting, was trying to understand this whole concept of who is this type of variant of the Lady Loki. And I love how he was trying to not like trying to fight it, trying to like attack it or trying to kill it. He was trying to understand it, like get this conversation, know if he can manipulate it and try to win it over, because he said, I'm the real Loki. And I love how Loki, like, who said, like, don't call me Loki and everything. So I love the conversation as well. So I really want to give props to that.
Steve?
I did enjoy the fact that it was Lady. As soon as I saw Lady Loki, I was like, JB, you son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So I immediately was like that. But one thing that I did notice when she took her hood off, and I don't know if I'm just going on a rant or whatever, but she only had one horn.
ALawal.
Yeah, I was like, she didn't have both horns. She only had one horn. So I noticed that, and I didn't know if that was a representation of something. But you just said AxL, so obviously, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, she only got one horn. So obviously one of the horns have been damaged. And I would think that it's been damaged because she was in one of those disasters and she was trying to get out. And right before she escaped, one of the horns blew off. I don't know. But I was thinking that was dope. I definitely enjoyed the fact that Loki even says, like, I was stalling for you. And you know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I can for you. And she was like, she basically, like you guys were saying, she's the evil version of Loki. She just was like, well, thank you for stalling for me because I'm going to fuck shit up. And it wasn't like one of those, oh, you were stalling for me, come with me. It was more so of thank you because I'm about to fuck shit up and you're an idiot for helping me out in a sense. And I definitely enjoyed that part. I thought that that whole scene in general was dope with the body switching and things like that. I don't know if you guys ever seen this movie called Fallen with Denzel Washington and John Goodman, but that's the vibes that I got from it the whole time, where she was body hopping and then she would jump straight into a conversation, and then Loki's trying to figure out where the fuck she's at, things like that. I definitely enjoyed that part. What else with that scene that I definitely enjoyed? There was so much going on, and I really enjoyed that last act. I watched that last act a few times without even going back and watching the entire episode. I just watched that part. I enjoyed even in the beginning when they first walk into the store and everybody is super wet, and then Loki uses his magic to dry off. He's like, because I don't want to be like you guys. You guys are going to be squeaking all around this place and being like making a bunch of noise.
That's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna be tiptoeing around here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, I don't want to be caught. And then either way, she's on the camera watching you guys. So it's all for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like every time you think that you're smarter than her, you realize how much smarter she is, how much more tactical and evil that this variant of Loki is. And I just really, really enjoy that. I thought all of that was really cool.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, look, JB.
I just want to add quick thing about of how smooth he was annoyed about his powers, because they said that illusion and the other powers
duplication casting.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like, no, it's not the same. One does this, one does the other. So it's two different things. And they were like, okay, so it's the same. But like, no, I just explained it. Two different things. I love how he felt attacked when he got told that his powers are very different or the same, and he had to defend himself from his own powers. I'm like, yo, like that is such a Loki thing where he felt like he needed to defend himself, like, but they didn't really care for it. So I just love that as well.
The pettiness popped out. He's like, no, this is what it is. But you would know that, of course.
Yeah.
TVA.
The last
he's like, all right, man,
the last thing that I did notice about Lady Loki was because he said everybody has different powers and things of that nature. One thing that I did notice on my rewatch, that I didn't notice on the first time, he said, why are you here? Why are you doing this? But it was showing Lady Loki on the screen, but it was a different voice, you know what I'm saying, impact. So it sounded like he was more so she was reading his mind, his thoughts, and then she responded to why he said, why are you here? It didn't sound like
that would be interesting.
Yeah, so I think she reads minds as well, because they definitely distorted that voice and made it sound different than him saying, why are you here? What are you doing? And things like that. That definitely sounded different. So I feel like she was responding to his thoughts, and they did it off screen, and they made sure to put the camera on her. I think that's good camera work, and I think that she can read minds, and she definitely responded right after that. And when they put the screen back on Loki, he kind of was confused.
Steve, I'm proud of you.
Bro,
I like
that's
that
a really good catch,
that. I'm proud
dude.
of you. Nice.
That's a really good catch.
I'm proud of you, Steve.
I thought of it, but I dismissed it completely, right? But now that you're saying it, I'm like, maybe she can hear his thoughts because she can control their minds and their motor functions. Why can't she listen in on their thoughts? Thank you for bringing that up. That's amazing. Abe, what do you think about that? What did you think about this scene? And did you think the same thing as Steve? Like,
no, I thought that not to that extent. I felt like what was it? There was something I watched recently where it could jump into bodies and as such can absorb all the memories and emotions of each person. So it's like, but of course she's been assuming random people. However, she did take Hunter C20. Now, your theory about Lady Loki being Lady Loki, I completely agree with you, because it goes back to a theme that we've been seeing, and I mentioned that while you were giving your explanation, a humbling. You need it. What better way to humble Loki in the long run than to have a variant of him who's more superior, a variant who's smarter,
exactly why it's not Enchantress.
Exactly like what Steve had mentioned. This is who Loki thinks he is. That's a better way to humble him, because he's being humbled in every episode. There's going to be a lot of humbling of Loki in this season, because we need to get that character development that we don't have. We got 6 episodes to develop his character. 6 episodes. So what better way than to have a superior version of Loki? And it's something that he constantly plays on. He's always seeing it like, oh yeah, they're lesser than me. I'm clearly the superior version. He's still holding on to that ego. Let's shatter that then. Let's just get rid of it. So I'm with the Lady Loki theory. I'm excited because she just said, like, look, all that stalling you did for me back then, like, I mean, I didn't need it. I can handle myself. And, I love hearing yourself talk because you're stalling for me while I prepare. Like, I appreciate you. You're benefiting me. You're benefiting my plans because I am the true superior one. But I can let you think whatever you want to think. And then I'm going to go. I'm going to leave the door open. It's up to you. You decide what you're going to do. Are you just going to... Are you going to stick around here and continue to be the lesser Loki? Or are you going to see what you really made of? See if you about that life, because I'm going to show you something. You ain't nothing like me. So I'm with the Lady Loki theory. That was a great theory by Steve too, because it is telling if she's able to do that. But at the same time too, you got to keep in mind that she's also a Loki. So not necessarily read his mind. I mean, they all have the same personality to an extent.
True.
The various quirks. So who better to know what a Loki is thinking than another Loki?
So like let's get into the last thing here, right? So I'm gonna ask you guys a question after I break this down. So I love that we get to see the beginning stages of Lady Loki's plan, right? She set off a bunch of different reset charges to go off in a bunch of different places, right? So this is what we see, right? And you guys will have to look at the stream to see this. But we see a TV stream, and we can see all of the different branch timelines spinning off from where she set off these recharges, right? These reset charges, my bad. So I paused, and I took notes constantly so I can see all of these different names. Let me put this back up real quick. You can see Vormir, Asgard, Sakaar, Ego, Titan, Hala, Xandar. Major
planets,
major moments in time
game.
where Lady Loki is setting off these reset charges. So Vormir 2301. What happens, right? No one lives on Vormir that we know about besides Red Skull. So what happened in Vormir, right? Asgard 2004. So this is 6 years before the events of the first Thor movie. What did they do? What happened on what happened on Sakaar? What's going to happen with all of these different branches, right? Ego, the year 1382. Like, I want to see the effects of all of these reset charges going off in these different times all over the galaxy. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think is Lady Loki's plan for all of this? Is she doing this to get all of the TVA Minutemen out of the TVA facility to go there and do something? Or is she just trying to destroy the sacred timeline to pretty much expose the timekeepers? So, Steve, I want to start with you, and I kind of want to know, like, your theories. Like, what do you think Lady Loki's goal is behind setting off these reset charges? Because we know one Nexus point, if it spirals off into too many different directions, will destroy reality as we know it. We know from this list, there's like 15 to 20 of these reset charges that went off that will create Nexus points. So what do you think?
Yeah, so when it happened and dude sat up, he immediately got on the phone. He was like freaking out. He was like, yo, what? Something crazy just happened. I do know that Titan is Thanos' planet, home planet. So I'm thinking, what the heck, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the fact that Thanos' thing was, we didn't have resources. So that's why I did my snap. You know what I'm saying? That's why I did that. So I'm wondering what that Nexus event is. Are you going to reset it and you're going to give them resources so you have no need to do that snap, and now you have more people on that planet that are just as strong or capable as Thanos? I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, even with Asgard, 6 years before the actual Thor movie, could that be like before Thor grabs his hammer? I don't know. I have no idea what could go on, but there's just so many different things that she might have reset it. And I'm just wondering, I think they're going to do a full episode where they're going to each one. And I think that would be a good hour worth of content. Where
Bro,
you're just
if only.
if you go to each Nexus event, and like Loki's following her. So Loki doesn't know where she's going. He just knows, I need to get the fuck away from them because I don't want to be around them on the TVA. So I'm thinking like, okay, he follows her and then she shows you each time event. And I think that each Nexus event, and I think that would be really dope for the next episode where she's showing Loki around, like, these are the different events and this is what it could be. You see how much power and much things that we just did. I think that would be really dope episode. I think that's what we're going to get next episode. We're just going to get each Nexus event and she's showing them around. They'll probably have some dialogue. They do flashbacks and they're talking about things and things like that. And then eventually Loki comes to light at the end of the episode and it's like, I'm the real Loki, not you. Something crazy like that. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So that's my thoughts on it. But on top of that, she can read his mind. That's my thought. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be pretty crazy next episode. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So that's all I have, honestly and truthfully.
Abe, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, look, just plain and simple, as I mentioned before, this show is the keystone of Phase 4 and the rest of future phases. We need the multiverse back. This is the best way to do it. By creating all these branches, the multiverses will be reborn. As a result, we will get another multiversal war, which is Secret Wars.
Peace.
So what better way to do it? Now, the question is her motivation for doing so. And that's where we start to theorize because, hey, here's an off chance that maybe she's working with Kang because Kang is trying to reset the multiverse. Maybe she's working with the Beyonders. Maybe she's working with Doom. Maybe she's just doing this herself because she has ulterior motives. There's so many possibilities as to why she's doing it. But
question.
Didn't she say when Loki asked, "Hey, let's take down those three lizards"? Didn't she say that she already knows where they are and everything? Because
Yeah, because
I didn't have.
C20 told her where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe she is gonna go take them out because I feel like James' first theory is that maybe she's trying to get the whole TVA out of the offices, and maybe she's trying to go and take the TVA three gods lizards out. Could be a possibility.
But the way that she expressed it and the way she kind of mocked Loki for his goals, like, oh, this is what you want to do, right? Just makes me
Yeah,
seem like
right,
that's too small for her.
right.
She
Is there
doesn't see
something
it
bigger?
as that big. Like there's something bigger. Like she's not gonna bother herself with it because there's something bigger than that. Like Loki is seeing two small pictures. Like, oh yeah, let me get out the timekeepers. Like, there's something more.
Yeah,
Something
because
more than timekeepers.
for like 2 seconds, I was like, what if she just wants to actually have free will, right? Like becoming a variant, she would have learned that even though you've done all of these different things, you thought you've been making your own decisions. Nah, there's three space lizards that make all of your decisions,
Fully believe that.
and they're writing your destiny. So is it kind of Lady Loki wanting to take back her own destiny and not only give herself free will, but give everyone else back free will? But what does that do? Wouldn't that create like a giant paradox that destroys reality? Does Lady Loki not care? These are the questions that I have, like surrounding what's happening right now.
That's
here's
what
my
could
thing for
cause
that.
the multiverse of madness. Like maybe what's going on with Loki could cause the Doctor Strange
We're gonna
multiverse
see
of
it
madness.
in Multiverse of Madness. We're gonna see more of the aftermath of now these new timelines existing. But here's the thing, JB. Well, I can see Lady Loki doing that because even Loki in episode 1 was like, "Nah, I make my decisions. Like,
Yeah,
no, there's no way someone is controlling and dictating and determining whether what I do is okay or not." Every Loki's gonna feel that way. It's at the end of the day Loki. So I see
True.
that. But then the other thing too, and Vash, just relates to what you were saying too, is that look, the the depth, the scope of all of this, the impact this is going to have on everything is so phenomenal that these next 4 episodes, because keep in mind we only have 4 episodes left now, we're going to see little hints and pieces. And like you mentioned, the pacing is great. The pacing is fluid. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel too slow. Pay attention to everything you see. Don't take even if it seems like a slow episode, because I think that's the main reason why people complained about this one, right? They felt it was too slow. Look, you saw just how much stuff we discussed about this, and we're not even done yet. How much we discussed. Look, though,
I couldn't believe I saw that on the timeline. I saw people saying that episode 2 started off super slow.
yo,
I was like, what?
People
What
expect
got
these
me-
shows to be like the movies, and they just want action. When they need to realize that these shows
A story
are character
purposes.
pieces. These are to
Yes.
dive deeper into these characters. Like we've been talking about this entire time. Loki has this image of himself, and we are going to see these variants of Loki so that he can see it's like, dude, as much as you want to be this evil badass, that's not who you are. You're closer to a scared kid, like what Mobius has been telling you are this entire time. And this is what Lady Loki is going to teach him. Is like, no, I'm the badass. You're just a little kid trying to play himself a man, which is something Laufey says to Thor in the first movie. But it's just like, it's that kind of thing. Like he's going to learn a lot about himself. There's a line by Mobius says like, if I'm not careful, you're gonna take my job. So it's like I would love to see Loki at some point potentially working for the Time Variance Authority. I think that would be very, very interesting to see Loki in that kind of capacity, because with his ego, it's like, yeah, I work for the Time, I work for the TVA, I control, all of time. If there's something that goes wrong, you can just call me, I'll take care of it because I'm Loki.
Yeah. What I do enjoy with it all is just that, like you said, is Loki being humble. That's the main thing that we're seeing is Loki being humble, and then also is showing, like you guys said, the female Loki, Lady Loki, is literally that much evil, that much capable than he is. Is literally showing you each and every time, and then we get to see all these times where he's vulnerable, where he's seeing like, oh, I killed my mom. Oh, there's going to be this snap that happens that shows I don't want to be this guy. I want to do the right thing, and that's going to happen during this season, whether it be episode 5 or 6, it's happening. You know what I'm saying? And when it happens, I hope it doesn't surprise people where they're thinking, oh, Loki's supposed to be a villain. You know what I'm saying? I hope that they can see as it's developing, because you can literally see it happening. He's gonna snap and realize that I don't want to be this guy. And where we were like saying that it was slow and things like that, and they want movie. Pointless action is annoying to me. I hate pointless action. I love the story and everything building up, because it makes those action moments hit that much harder because of all the dialogue and everything that you get from it. I hate pointless action. Like, some people love the Expendables. I hated the Expendables because I felt like the Expendables was pointless action. It was just,
I like the first two, bro. The first two are flames.
I just
thought it was just action. It was just like, hey, let me blow some shit up. Let me kill some. And I love the actual story and the dialogue and the build up of everything else. Yeah, with Expendables, you go in, you know what it is. But I love stories more so when they have that dialogue, they have that build up. So that way that action hits that much harder, rather than jumping into like going on YouTube and watching a random fight. It doesn't have that same hit that it does if you watch the whole story and let that build up to a great fight. That's what I mean by that. Sorry if you guys love Expendables, everybody in chat. I know everybody's like, fuck Steve.
Fuck Steve in his socks.
The Expendables are what they are, yo. They are.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I hate pointless action. Give me something for me to be hyped when this action happens, and it makes it that much better. Dialogue is better to me than action.
Facts, bro. Facts. Just that conversation between Loki and Mobius. That was one of my favorite things out of anything, right? Like, just watching them talk. Watching Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson have this great, like, back and forth between each other. So, there's one thing that I want to talk about, and then I want to get you guys' final thoughts. So, this is pretty much going to be a statement, piggybacking off of what Steve said. It's like, Loki talked about no one bad is ever truly bad, and no one good is ever truly good, which is a huge message for the Timekeepers. Like, there's so many Easter eggs in these 2 episodes alone that tell me specifically that the Timekeepers are the real villains of this series, right? There's this scene with Mobius giving feedback to this TVA officer who is being really mean to this person. It's like, dude, like, they're trying to hide from this storm. Like, they don't know that they're about to die. You don't have to be a fucking asshole to these people who are trying to survive. So it's all these little things showing you that the Timekeepers and the TVA could potentially, more than likely, be the main villains of this series. And maybe Lady Loki isn't even like the real villain. She is evil because she's willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. But the Timekeepers are the true villains of this series. And this also goes back to Odin. Look back at Thor Ragnarok when Hela talks about how Odin and her built Asgard. Where do you think they got all that gold from? They went across the 9 realms and they subjugated the 9 realms. And Odin will tell people, oh, we liberated them. Much like in Invincible. It's like, oh yeah, Viltrumites, we help everyone. No. Odin and Hela subjugated the 9 realms into peace, right? And then he hid that history from everyone on Asgard because he knew that they would not fuck with that, right? So no one bad is ever truly bad. No one good is ever truly good, except Steve Rogers. I will give that to Steve. Steve is pure at heart. But that's all I wanted to say on that. I want to go around and I want to get your final thoughts on Loki episode 2. Abe, I want to start with you.
Yo, look, set up for the Serpent Crown storyline. I'm here for it because that goes into Secret Avengers. It's possibly a solo movie with Nova down the line, and of course, possible X-Men clashes. You know what? Loki is making me excited for future phases. That's where my mind is going. I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking 10 years down the line right now. So Loki's just doing that for me. Episode 1, it did that for me. Episode 2, it did that for me. Really excited for what we're about to get into, because now we're going to get into the thick of it. Shout out to the Backyardigans. We're going to get into the thick of it all, and that's exciting. I can't wait to see what episode brings us. I guarantee you, as soon as we watch episode 3, the group chat is about to be blowing up. We're about to be spazzing. I'm about to come up with, oh, this is another storyline they about to do. Oh my gosh, like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Steve, final thoughts?
Piggybacking off of what you said, where nobody's really good, nobody's really evil. The road to hell is paved through good intentions. Old people say it all the time. They say the road to hell is paved through good intentions. And it's just, you might have thought that you were gonna do something good, and then in the end, you just start doing whatever's necessary to get the job done. And that makes you a bad guy. And that might be why the TVA is really the bad guys in this. And Loki saw it, and that's where we are with it. Overall, this story has been fucking amazing. I'm really enjoying it. I honestly and truthfully wish that I knew more about Loki coming into this, because so far, these first 2 episodes have been my favorite out of the whole Marvel universe that we've gotten so far, out of the WandaVision and the Falcon Winter Soldier. I think these 2 episodes have been my favorite. There's more.
I can't argue, bro.
They're the most.
I can't argue with that either.
Dropping. The most Easter eggs dropping. There's so much alluding to the future in these 2 episodes that this has just been my favorite 2, and I can't wait to dive deeper.
I was most excited for Loki when they announced the shows. I was like, Loki's the one I want. I don't really care about the other ones. Loki's the one I want. Now, of course, I do care about the other ones. I enjoyed them, but Loki had me most excited about the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, and it's proven, it's justifying my excitement, and I love that. I really do.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier was my most anticipated, but after these first 2 episodes, I'm like, nigga, like,
well, here's the thing: when they first
right
announced the Loki episode and his involvement with the TVA, I was like, TVA, let me go. I said, oh, I said, Flashpoint. And Flashpoint, anybody? Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
I'm like,
Flashpoint. This is how I feel about Flashpoint. Thank you, Disney. Thank you, Mickey Mouse, for making me finally feel the way Warner Brothers should have made me feel. I appreciate you.
So I felt the same. Like, hey, when I read TV, I'm like, oh, are we doing like Red Hunter, like Legend of Tomorrow type of like Time Patrol shit? But I'm like, okay, Legend of Tomorrow, it was they did it cool, it's from CW. So Loki actually, kick it up a notch and actually have a good cast of the whole TVA. So I'm like, I was damn excited. But overall thoughts, I can't wait for us to be done with episode 6, because from what the whole cast here of the panel just said, it looked like we love Loki out of the whole 3 shows already more than the other 2 shows. But again, guys, that doesn't knock out WandaVision and Captain America and the Winter Soldier in any way, because those were good in their own right. But I can't wait to see what Loki brings to the whole grander scheme to the MCU, with Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and what else could it bring? Because I'm also, the next show I'm excited for is Moon Knight, even though we're not gonna get that for another year and some change. Because Moon Knight is a dope ass character. If people don't know him, go check out the comics, because he's a dope ass character. So Loki is good as him in the comics, but it depends how. I think that's being played by Oscar Isaac, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see what happens with that. So Loki been having a great ass time with episodes. I can't wait for episode today. Like, these type of shows actually make me want to watch the next one. Or they're like, yo, Disney, can you give us some press type of episodes, like some type of like early access? Because like I am fiending for it, because like, damn, so good. So episode 2, my favorite. Again, I will talk about it. The peak conversation with Mobius and Loki about religion and faith and what you believe in is so good. And the second one, the comedy bit about Thor Ragnarok, it's as a salad. And what I love how Mark Ruffalo tweeted, Ragnarok salad, like best tweet in there. Like you couldn't add anything more to that. Like, I just love how you add a little salt, a little pepper, a little milk there. That's Thor Ragnarok.
Apparently, he didn't take offense to getting pushed off the Rainbow Bridge. So.
He did it. Like, I'm like he was enjoying that. Like, I had a great time. I'm curious to know if Hulk is gonna make a cameo or something throughout the show or something, because I had a great time with it. I cannot speak any really negative, as you guys have seen chat people that's watching our audience. You really have not seen us really talk any type of negative throughout this episode and last episode, because it's so good in the story pace of the character, but and the type of Easter eggs, what they're gonna build on for the rest of the MCU. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, man. Just to echo everything you guys said, like this series is just incredible. We're only 2 episodes in. We've already gotten so much Loki development. We've already seen different variants of Loki. We've gotten more information about how time travel works within the MCU, how time works in general. The timekeepers. We've gotten Easter eggs to other characters. The Nightmare Realm. Could this be the lead up into what causes the multiverse of madness? There's so much great shit that has happened in only 2 episodes. And in an interview, Tom Hiddleston was just like, it's only going to get crazier. We're only going to get more, like, bigger reveals, and it's going to be nuts. And I hope that Lady Loki isn't the only variant Loki that actually talks to Tom Hiddleston's Loki to give him that further character development. I don't want it to be a Loki of the week, you know, but I would like to see at least one more that shows him, like, yeah, I'm actually not anything like the other Lokis throughout the multiverse. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm really interested in them exploring. I did not think I would like Owen Wilson this much on the show, if I'm being honest. I did not think I would be this attached to his Mobius. So I'm loving all of that. I love the chemistry between Mobius and Renslayer, how their friendship works. I want to learn more about her. There's so many different things. Again, only in 2 episodes, right? So there's 4 more episodes to go. I can't wait to review it with you guys. Steve, Abe, like, I love having you guys on this episode. In episode 1, like I told you guys before, like, just listening to you guys' theories and listening to you theory craft and how you think about the episode, I'm like, I have to talk to these guys for every single episode of Loki, because I love the way that you guys think. Like what Steve brought up earlier, things that I never thought of, the storylines that you brought up, Abe, things that I didn't even connect, right? So this is why I love having you guys here for Loki, and we're going to do so many more fucking collabs in the future. So Steve, tell the people where they can find you online.
You can find me everywhere on Twitter and Instagram at ScubaSteve1428, and follow the the Blerd Mind Pod. That's my podcast, and you can follow the link tree, and it'll link you to Scholar Scuba Steve and everything else that I do. I'm just so happy to be here, man. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this, because this is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, love having you here, bro.
You know me as Prince ALawal, Prince Issue of the Blood Mist, Son of Dark Side. Look, you can find me on Twitter at Prince_ALawal. Remember the contest, the giveaway. You can follow the Ocean A podcast, where we talk sports, culture, everything. You know, because I'm a nerd, I'll be tweeting nerdy stuff, you know, comic stuff that I'm reading, definitely from that account at times. That's OSA_A podcast on Twitter. Definitely listen to Osa and Abe on Spotify. Listen to Inside the Mind of a Blerd on Spotify, whatever streaming platforms. Follow the Blerd Mind Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Steve and I, we run those social media accounts. Look, it's so fun to be here. We have a shop. Head over to that. Head over to the YouTube channel. We just got a lot going on. A lot of entertainment for any and all fans. You know, we cover almost every realm of Blerddom, from comics to gaming to film to literature, interview series, movie reviews, film reviews, trailer reviews. Just come through, pull up. And thank you again, JB, Vash, for having us. I'm really excited about the next 4 weeks, especially when it comes to the show. It's going to be so much fun because, like JB mentioned, all of us have different perspectives on things, and when you get to hear them out, you start to form a bigger picture, and it makes it much more fun. So appreciate all of y'all for coming through the support. Show love to each and every one of these content creators. We appreciate you. We love you. You know, stay safe outside. We here. Vash?
Guys, don't forget to check out the Anime Leader podcast and the audio on the YouTube side. We just did episode 90 now. We played Uno. We did draw 24, draw 28. We did draw 8 on the whole squad, the whole team. It was hilarious, a great stream. Episode 100 will be next week. What the hell will we be doing? We don't even know yet. So we're still discussing behind the scenes. Will we play Among Us? Depends on Ray with his signal. Or will we do Among Us next month? It depends. We will still be finding out. We will put a Twitter. Definitely follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/anime lately. Don't forget to continue subscribing, both Anime Lately and Careful Spoilers, both the brother and sisters brand. Definitely don't continue to support us on the Discord, the Patreon, the YouTube membership, and continue supporting us in any type of way you can. Like, subscribe, and do everything you can, guys, because we appreciate it with a wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely follow all of these guys everywhere. Social media, Twitch, YouTube. I would not have these guys on this show if I did not, one, believe in them, and also believed that they could bring something to the show, right? I am very arrogant. I would not bring people onto my show that's gonna talk bullshit, right? Like, I brought these guys on again because I know I can trust their thoughts and their opinions, and they're gonna bring something different to the show, different personalities, different thoughts. And I fucking love working with Abe and Steve. Like, they're so much fun to talk to, so much fun to work with. And like Abe already mentioned, we have the giveaway. The easiest thing for you guys to do is just to head over to carefulforspoilers.com, click on the article. All of the links are hyperlinked. You can click on my name, Osa and Abe Podcast. Click on our names. It is hyperlinked. You can just go there, follow us, subscribe, and enter for a chance to win this Static Shock comic. We got so much other shit coming for you guys, so much other giveaways. We're going to be doing some Blu-ray giveaways as well. From my end, I haven't even talked to Abe about this, but we're going to be doing some Blu-ray giveaways when
JB,
we do...
Can I spoil one of the possible ones?
Of course you can, bro.
Okay. Look, me...
Is it The Dark Knight?
No, JB and I are horror fans, and look, we're going to give away The Conjuring. We're going to give away issue 1 of The Conjuring, the Lover series by DC Horror.
There's a comic? I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Makes sense though, because
we're gonna give this away to we got stuff work. We do.
That is true. Chat. If you didn't hear the anime podcast as well last night, me and James are cooking up more movie reviews. I will not be doing horror. That will be Abe and James' department. So anything Fast 9, movie related, comic book, and anything that is a single 10-minute review or so, me and James will be doing. Anything horror will probably be Abe and James doing. So definitely.
and
we're
Steve.
Coming.
No,
Steve,
I can do thriller.
Okay.
Crazy, straight up
I can do
horror.
thriller too. I can do thriller too. I just can't do horror. So we're cooking a lot of stuff on C4S.
Yeah,
so we're cooking a lot, guys.
There's a lot of juicy
a lot of
stuff
shit
coming for you in terms of content, in terms of prizes. 3 prizes you can win. Yo, look, just follow us. Head over to C4 Spoilers website. Please just do that. Enter. Contest entry is easy. You just gotta click a few follows, subscribe, all that jazz. Tweet at us your favorite comic book character. We just want to know. We all love comics here, so tell us your favorite comic book character. It doesn't matter. I ain't gonna judge you. If your favorite character is Aquaman from the early versions when he was just a joke, hey,
if it's Polka Dot Man, I'm good.
Polka Dot.
Okay, if it's Polka Dot Man, I will question you. I'm like, okay.
Polka Dot Man's kind of dope, bro.
I'm gonna look at you and be like, you know your stuff.
Right?
That's true. That's true. You know your stuff.
No, I'm not gonna lie. If your favorite character is Gotham and Gotham Girl, I hate you. I hate you.
If your favorite character is Nightwing, or let's go Spider-Man 2099, then I'll buy you a comic book. I'll buy you one from comic book store. So if you tweet us and say that,
expect 20 plus tweets of my favorite characters.
Hey, my favorite character is Nightwing. I'm not gonna lie.
Vash about to buy 20 comic books.
team is not involved. The team here is not involved.
with New York prices, so that's just gonna be expensive.
That New York tax go crazy.
So yeah, man, as you guys heard, we have so much stuff coming up for you guys. Giveaways, all kind of stuff, movie reviews. Abe and I are going to be talking Saw, The Conjuring, Insidious. We're going to be doing so much shit. Vash and I are going to be reviewing F9. hopefully next weekend or like the beginning of the following week,
Yeah.
we're gonna work it out. But we will be reviewing F9. Abe, Steve, if you guys want to jump in on that, you guys are more than welcome to. But we will be talking F9. Vash and I will be doing a lot more movie reviews. Definitely stick around for the horror reviews with myself and Abe, or myself and my girlfriend Mia, because we also review a lot of horror stuff together. So again, guys, we have a lot of lit content coming for you guys, so please subscribe to the channel, follow us all over social media so you guys don't miss out. Everyone in chat that showed up today, you guys are the MVPs. We do this show live because you guys show up every single week to join in on the conversation with us. So I cannot tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you guys for showing up and just listening to me talk to my friends for 2 fucking hours nerding out about comics and variant versions of these characters. So again, I truly, truly appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye.